All right, finished planning last Friday, so we got the baler hooked up and got it pulled in. Shop here, end of last year as I was baling the last 30 bales or so, got about halfway through it and had a bearing go out on, it's called the center drive roller, which kind of goes in right about in through here. Long story short, gotta start from the beginning. When I started using this baler about 3 years ago, my dad had parked it and it hadn't been used in at least 15 years, if not better. Just sat inside the barn down below. Anyway, the reason why he stopped using it was on this drive roller, the stud here had broken off. Well, I guess he had a new stud made and had it welded on. He said he used it just for a little bit and it broke again, and so he just parked it. Hadn't been used. So when I pulled it out, I took it over to a neighbor who's a really good welder and had him weld that back on there. Started putting everything together. There's a double sprocket that kind of goes on the end of there. And the way I found it had the smaller sprocket to the outside. The book and everybody else shows that it's supposed to be to the inside. The larger sprocket goes to the outside. I think this one actually hooks to the chain. It's a long chain that goes up to the top up here, and then the outside here I believe is the one that hooks to the gearbox. So anyway, I've used it for like 3 years like that after I got it welded up. Never had any issues with it. And then, like I said, last summer, bearing went out, had a neighbor come over, finish the last few bales. It was getting ready to rain the next day and we're planning on wrapping some hay, so I wanted to get it done. Got it pulled in this spring, started looking into my issue, what's going on. I noticed this, the inside of this sprocket was like really wallered out. Wasn't sure if we got that welded just perfectly straight. What was going on? And I was having a heck of a time getting the belts to get, it had always been really slow getting the belts to start. Towards the last 30, 40 bales I baled last year, I had to like almost force this thing to bail. I would go creep along really slow the windrow, and I'd get some hay fed into the pickup, get enough in there. The belts wouldn't even be turning yet. You could see some of the rollers were turning, and then eventually the belts would take off and they would make a bale. Crappy way to bale, but it worked. The bales turned out just as tight as the other bales. I just figured that I needed new belts, which I think I do, but I figured that was the reason why it was really hard to get started. What I have since found out is the shaft that my dad had made, or had somebody make, is supposed to have a keyway on it that this sprocket slides onto, which is obviously what drives that roller. No keyway, sprocket was just kind of shimmed on there, is the way I had it. So that's the reason why this thing never really spun the belt, started the belts the way as well as it should have. I know it's an old baler, say what you want about it, but it's made a lot of hay, and even the last 3 years had given me relatively little trouble, only that, you know, it's hard to get a bale started. So got a new roller ordered. It was about 500 bucks for that, but this brand new one, I know that, you know, that will be straight. It'll have the keyway and everything that I need. And got the new bearings, got a new spacer that I had to kind of cut up to get the bearing off of there. It was really on there, wasn't coming off. So I'll get that all put back together. Was planning on buying new belts. I thought maybe it was just the bearing that I need to be replaced, but I think instead I'm going to just replace this roller, get it all put back together properly with the keyway and everything, and then see how well it bails. Maybe try to get one more year out of these belts, since they'll actually have a drive roller driving them. So that's what I'm working on right now. Try to get this thing ready to go. Got to get the disc mower pulled in here next. I think it's got a bearing or something that's out on one of the first disc. The hub is really loose. So once I know that this thing is good to go, then I'll get the mower in here and spend some time on it. So 7,000, that's what I bale with. Got some pretty good oil leaks. That oil pan, I'm not going to go into long story on that too right now, but I can run it for probably about 6 hours a day, maybe lose. It looks really bad there on the concrete floor, but while it's running, maybe after 6 hours, I'm down maybe a half gallon or so. So it's not good, but I've tried to reseal that thing several times. It's actually the timing cover that's on our timing cover plate that sits on the front. It is not flush with the bottom of the block. I'm gonna use it for one more year how it is. Just keep pouring oil into it. I know it sucks, but I don't have the time to screw with it right now. This winter I'll get it pulled in, and probably gonna split the tractor. I think the rear main is leaking too. So that's probably gonna be kind of a bigger winter project that I hopefully take on this next winter. But hopefully all this stuff will get me through one more hay season. Don't use this tractor a whole lot other than to bale, and I brush hog with this tractor. So it's pretty light use, but I would really like to get that leak finished up. Just do a quick walk around the baler here. Like I said, it's an old bale. Supposed to make a 5x6 bale, which it does. Probably doesn't get them nearly as tight as some of what the newer balers do. But I don't know. I'm not going to spend any money on a new baler this year for sure. I know it's insane to put, what belts cost to put all new belts on a baler like this, but if it's working, and that's really all it needs, I don't know. I just need hay, round bales. It makes them, so good enough for me. Did have to put a new tire on there last year. One went flat right in the middle of baling with a thunderstorm, like literally on the horizon. So luckily that went through real fast, and it was just kind of a sprinkling. I don't know. It looked purple on the horizon, but never really did much. Never really hurt the hay at all. I think I did wait until the next day to bale it, but it didn't get the hay wet enough to really have to go back and re-rake it or tether it. But so yeah, that's it. Twine tie, no net wrap, which I know I'm gonna be the odd man on this too, but I really I understand all the benefits of net wrap, but when it goes to like messing with the actual netting and all the hassle of putting it out and dealing with it afterwards, I don't know if it's worth it personally, especially since I have started and going to continue wrapping my hay with like a plastic. It keeps the hay tight and dry. So for me, the netting is kind of, I don't know, not sold on it just yet. It is nice when if you have to store your hay out in the open, and it does keep the bale, that outer shell, a little tighter. So in that regard, I do see the benefit of it. But anyway, charged the AC in the 7,000 the other day. This tractor will get very, very cold in there. That's one of the only benefits of that little cab is the AC does still work. Got to charge it every year, but through the summer doing hay, I mean, it will literally freeze you out in there. So that's a plus on the old oil leaky tractor. Black Belly 7000, not sure what year exactly, but obviously being a Black Belly, it's probably one of the latter ones. I've been told Black Belly 7000 is kind of a rare tractor, but I don't know. I see them here and there. Take a look at the barn. 8070 pulled in. Got a little hydraulic leak on the side of it. Unfortunately, I have to take, it's got saddle tanks, and you cannot access anything on the side of that tractor without draining the fuel and taking the tank off, which is hassle. That's what I'm working on kind of intermittently. Take a few gallons out every day here or there. 1586. It's been retired to mainly just a tillage tractor. Front tire kept going flat this year. It was really old and rotten, so I don't know. I'm probably going to put some new front tires on it. It's getting kind of rough. It's another winter project. May want to repaint it if I can. Not sure how much time I'll have. Put duals on it. Overhaul this past winter. Runs pretty good. It needs a new AC in it. It's enough to keep you comfortable, but not near as cold as these other two. This one I put a Sandine or something conversion on it last year, and it has held a charge. I don't know if you can see it up in there. Not really. It has held a charge since the day I did that, so that's awesome. I did have to replace an expansion valve. That was one leak. I charged it when I put that compressor on there. It held for a couple days, and then it wouldn't hold anymore. Eventually, I took the roof off, found the expansion valve up there is leaking. 2388, she's asleep. Has been all winter, all spring. Got one of the cool things I got for it coming up when I get it out later this summer is bought some Tiger lights, LED lights for the front six there. Very excited. Had two of them burn out last year on the front, and it's kind of a potato combine, which I did shell quite a bit of corn at night, so hopefully that really brightens things up next year. And then Kinsey 3500 split row 815 no-till coulters. So anyway, I'll give you guys an update when I get the new roller, get it all put in there. Like I said, I was gonna place belts, but I think I'm gonna hold off. Try to get one more year out of these belts, since hopefully this thing will drive better, as in the roller will drive better. All right, guys, talk to you later. Thanks.